What is up, guys? We are talking about the current financial situation in America with the American people. And I'm going to get into some information. We're going to be looking at some numbers. I have a tablet right here, an iPad, and I'm going to be looking at stuff, information to kind of help me, commentate or talk about what it is that I want to talk about. Now, the income versus prices ratio is a huge issue right now in America. Okay? A huge issue. Now, I was looking at some statistics. Okay? And the numbers are really, really, really horrible. Okay? Now, I'm specifically talking about the income versus prices for somebody that wants to make a good living. Get a decent vehicle, get a decent home in a decent area. Whether you're single or married, that's, either way. To be able to live a decent, not even on top, not even wealthy, just decent, be in a decent position. Okay, and the numbers are horrible. Okay? Let's say you have two full-time jobs that pay around $20 an hour. Okay? Now, I'm in Atlanta. It's safe to say that the majority, and I'm generalizing, the majority of jobs pays a little less than 20 an hour, if not a lot less than $20 an hour. A lot of them pay a lot less, okay? Okay, so with that being said, you're looking at about, if you have two full-time jobs, let's say you're pulling 70 hours, 30 at one, 40 at another, or let's say you're doing 80 hours a week, okay? So let me get into that right now. Okay, so let's see what we got here. And I'm looking at some information here. Okay. Bear with me. I'm typing in some information. That way, you know what I'm saying. I'm not the type of person that's just going to make up stuff off the top of his head and start, making up stuff. Okay. Or trying to remember something that I read last week or 3 days ago. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's say I'm doing 80 hours a week at $20 an hour. Because again, let's say I have two full-time jobs that pays around $20 an hour. Okay? My weekly income is $1,600. Let's say they take taxes out. And they will, okay? And that, let's say for the sake of this conversation, that brings me down to about $1,100. Let's say they took $500 out. They're going to take more than that, okay? Because if you have a 401k plan, you have medical insurance, you have taxes, you have this, that, and that, it's likely going to be more than that. But let's say it's that. I'm going to give you $1,100, okay? If you make $1,100 weekly, okay? $1,100 weekly, right? Okay, whoops. Oh my goodness. I'm really messing up here. Okay, if you make $1,100 weekly, right, that's going to bring you, okay, bear with me here, okay, and I'm horrible at math, as you can see, because okay, that's $57,200 you took home. Okay, now again, $57,200 you took home, around that price. Here's the problem: the statistics I'm reading to get started in life, get a decent home and get decent vehicles and be able to make a decent living. You know what that number is right now in America? It's between 75 and 89,000 as a whole. Now, some parts of the country, it's going to be higher. Some parts, I don't think it gets any lower than 75. It might in some parts of the country. I don't really know. But 89 versus 57. So you're telling me if I have two full-time jobs that pays $20 an hour on both jobs, then I'm still $32,000 short of making a decent living and being able to take care of what I need to take care of. This means getting approved for a house, being able to pay for the mortgage, getting a decent vehicle, and being able to pay for everything else. And this doesn't even include children or anything like that. Okay? Let's say I have children to take care of, this, that, you know. This is very, very, very disturbing. This is horrible. Because even if we make small changes systematically, we're still in a horrible position, because small changes is not going to matter when you are working 2 full-time jobs. Now let's say it's one full-time job at $40 an hour. You got the same number, $40 an hour. How many jobs are paying $40 an hour that you can go out and get? How many? There's careers that people go to school for, get student loans for, that are not given anywhere close to $40 an hour. That would still bring home after taxes around $57,000. That would still put me $30,000 short, $32,000 short of what makes sense for me to get a decent home and have decent things that I need to get by. This is very, very, very disturbing. And I know what some people are going to say, strap your put your bootstraps and blah, 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 step up, do better, do better, do better. Okay, that stuff sounds wonderful, but when you look at the population as a whole, how many job openings out there are for people to make around $89,000 a year? Like right off the back. If we were all trying to step up to do that, everybody, how many of us would actually be able to pull that off? Very, very, very minute. A very, very minute percentage of the population of people will actually be able to do that. So I understand there's some people that are in a good situation. They've already gotten their home. Their house is almost paid off, or it is paid off. Their family's well off. But their children are not well off. The ones that are young, the ones that are young adults, the ones that are in high school, they're not in the best position. You know, you need huge amounts of money to get by now. Huge amounts. You need a job, another job, and then a side hustle after that, just to make a decent living and have yourself taken care of, okay? Now, this is a man-made issue in America, our systems. Now, the biggest problem that I have out of everything is 2 things, but really it's one, because they're both really together. It's our housing prices and our mortgage system. The 30-year mortgage system is awful, okay? Because it's always been horrible. That's why we had the housing crash with all the foreclosures in, I think it was 2007 or 2008. Because here you have a 30-year loan, 30 years, okay? You need to go 30 years and not have any big financial problems that are going to keep you from paying that monthly payment. 30 consecutive years, okay? Okay, and I'm doing a little bit of math again. You have to go 360 consecutive months without having financial downfalls. Now, don't get me wrong. There's programs that will help you if you're a month or 2 behind, blah, blah, blah. But that sets you back still anyway. The 30-year mortgage program has always been horrible. 30 years to pay for anything is horrible. Okay? 20 years sounds more reasonable. You know, these systems are designed to benefit one and one only, and it's not you. You know, oh, thank God I got a home, blah, 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 I'm blessed. Listen, that's good, but the system is built not for your benefit. It's built for the benefit of the banks, and that is it. No one else, the benefit is not for anyone else. You may see it as a benefit for yourself to have a home, and that is true, but the deal itself is not the best benefit for you most of the time. Not every time, most of the time, okay? So, let's get more into this financial system. So, what's going to be done about it? And I think it's going to get horrible. Here's another issue that really makes me feel horrible. The chances of becoming homeless right now are extreme or very, very high. I think it's way higher than people believe it is. And I'm looking up some statistics. Okay. So, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and this is from 2022, okay? They counted 653,104 homeless people, okay? That is a 12% increase from the same report in 2022. No, I take that back. This is from this year, okay? March of 2024. There's a 12% increase in just 2 years in the homeless numbers. A 12% increase. Okay? Now let's be honest. That number is not 100% accurate. There's probably more than that haven't been accounted for. Okay? The numbers are going up, and guess what? They're going to get even higher. Because you're going to have people that are going to run out of resources, you know, from the standpoint of people who are actually helping them, because there's people piling up in homes, living with family members and this and that. When those resources run out, there's going to be people with nowhere to go, okay? Because you can't just go out and grab a house. Oh, I can't live here anymore with my aunt, my uncle, my brother, mother, whatever. I'm going to go buy me a house. You can't do that, most people. Because like I said, and I'm going to look up another component here. Okay. So we're looking at the average prices of homes. Okay. This is horrible right here. This is a horrible number. It says the national median existing home price for all housing types reached, and this is as of August of 2024, $416,700. Now, I'm seeing a lot of houses closer to $300,000, okay? I'm seeing, and I'm in Georgia, I'm seeing, that's average because they're putting all of them together in one average number. You have lower and you have a lot higher. That's like the medium average. So, for the sake of this, 416 is out of reach for the high vast majority of American working people. That is way out of reach. I'm being honest. I know some people, oh no, my family can buy that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Okay, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to lower that number because I'm seeing a lot of homes that are more like in the 300 range. Even 300,000 is very high. And again, interest is high right now. Interest is at an all-time high right now. So you have let's say between $280,000 and $400,000 is generally what a lot of people are going to see, from what I believe, when they're looking for a home. Okay, now yes, there is houses that are lower than that. It depends on what area it is and the condition of the home. But I'm seeing homes that are not even in good condition that are close to 300, 270, 280, 295,000. And they're not even in good shape, and they're one-story homes. I see that. No exaggeration, okay? So, like I said, if you make the $57,000 that you take home each year on $40 an hour on a 40-hour work week, you can't get approved to pay for a decent home in America. $40 an hour. $40 an hour. Now, you're going to tell me that's not absurd. That is absolutely absurdly ridiculous. Okay, now let me step back from what I just said. I said you can't get approved for a home. I'm wrong about that. I was wrong about that. You could probably get approved, maybe, if you have good credit. They may approve you. But my point has nothing to do with approval. It's making enough money to make a living as a whole and not have too many financial problems. I was wrong what I just said. You can't get approved for a home. Yes, you probably can with that salary. You likely will get approved. But to pay for it and sustain your livelihood for yourself, for your family, your children, whoever lives with you, is where the huge issue is at. That's where the huge issue is. And that's the whole purpose in this whole video. We have we have a horrible system in America right now. And I understand it evolved into this with inflation and other factors. But we are in a horrible situation right now. This position is awful. It's awful for those that are just getting out of college, looking for a place, looking to get their lives started. Because you have people working in professional fields that are not bringing home $89 a year. Okay? You do. And even if you do, I read that the average income necessary to make a stable living in Atlanta without the financial problems is $106,000. Now, I'll be honest, I think that's a little high. For the sake of this conversation, let's say we're going to stick with the $89,000 number, because 106 is unrealistic to generalize that and say, okay, because let's be honest, the extreme high vast majority of people are not pulling 100, and that's both husband and wife together. Well, if you're both pulling 50, you're about at 100. That's realistic. That's very realistic. In fact, I think there's a lot of couples that are doing that together. You know, if you're pulling around 50 each, or one's doing 60, one's doing 40, whatever the case may be, you are pulling that, and you should be well off as long as you're good with money. Okay, so a lot has to change, and mainly with housing. If we could do something about this housing situation in America, that would be the biggest start, the biggest thing, the biggest and best thing we can do. Because if anything, you should be able to get a decent home. And I'm just talking about a decent home. $416,000 was a mansion not long ago. That was a mansion. I saw 3-story, 6-bedroom houses for around that price not long ago. Now that's, and don't get me started on California. I'm seeing 1-story, 3-bedroom homes in regular neighborhoods going for close to $1 million, if not more than $1 million. That is absolutely absurd. I understand California has a higher living than most parts of the country. I get it, and probably higher income too. But I don't care. That is extremely, absolutely absurd. We now have a system that makes it unrealistic for a high percentage of Americans to be well off. And now we have a system that is working completely against at least 90 to 95% of everybody in it. Anyway, what's your opinion on this? Do you think I'm incorrect on this? Your opinion is welcome as well. Your opinions are all welcome, whether you agree or disagree with me. Put your comment in. Feel free to, give me information that I can look at. Give me some ideas for future videos, because we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics on this channel. This channel is going to be kind of podcast-like. That's the way I want it to be, sort of, kind of. I'm not going to be just talking about these things. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different issues. We're going to get into a lot of different stuff on this channel.